And I believe we are about to go on to Zoom as well. We want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom. We're really glad that the air conditioning seems to be working well in this room tonight, which is a good thing. So we're coming to that time of the year in the calendar. We are about 9 days away from the start of a new year. The work of Cheshbon HaNefesh is beginning in earnest, and we are going to, each one of us, be doing that work of assessing ourselves, the truth of our lives, and how we can, as we begin this new year, become closer to God. We're going to begin the service on page 13 of your prayer book. And for those of you at home, we hope you will be singing along with us. We're beginning with Shalom Aleichem, page 13. La 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 la. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedechem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we hope that you are able to begin to feel a sense of the peace of Shabbat as we come together to praise God for this gift of this day that helps us to be most fully human by giving us a chance to pause and to rest. We continue the service on page 16 of our prayer book, Psalm 96. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song I will sing, unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll sing along all the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash.
Sing unto God a new song, I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along all the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. I will sing unto God a new song.
We will sing unto God a new song. What's the song that God is hearing from us this week? That's a new song. What part of our lives has changed this week that we can offer up to the Holy One a blessing? We'll continue now on page 17 with the words of Or Zarua, 2 lines from the bottom of the page, and a melody that the cantor composed.
Or Zarua la tzadik hu leish veleve simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik hu leish veleve simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezecher kodesho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezeker kodesho. Or Zarua la tzadik u'leish lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'leish lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezeker kodesho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezeker kodesho. Siur Zarua la tzadik u'ish lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'ish lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezeker kodesho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezecher kodesho.
We invite you to turn ahead with us to page 19 as we continue 3 lines from the bottom of the page, Craig Taubman's Romemu.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו.
We're going to invite you to turn now to page 20 as we continue with Mizmor LaDavid, the Shlomo Carlebach melody. As I have said on many occasions, it's custom to stand, but if it's more comfortable and more Shabbostic for you to be seated, please feel free to be whatever posture brings you Shabbat. Page 20, Mizmor LaDavid.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני, כבוד ועוז, איי איי איי, הבו לאדוני, כבוד שמו השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים, אדוני על המים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, איי איי איי, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל, ובכי חלום כמו מרכבות. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. איי איי איי, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, בשלום יברך את עמו בשלום.
Invite you to be seated. We continue now the service on page 21 with Lecha Dodi. We'll do the first and second and last verse on page 21, and then we'll rise as we conclude the final verse on page 22.
Lecha Dodi לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתקילה. lecha דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תקילה. lecha דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. lecha דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. Beautiful, beautiful L'chadodi melody. We want to invite you to join with us now as we turn ahead to page 23 and continue with the psalm for Shabbat, Tzadik Katamar, 4 lines from the bottom of page 23.
צדיק כתמר יפרח, כרז בלבנון יסגע, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובו נבשרה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד, כי ישר אדוני צורי צורי, ולא עוולת בו.
Although we do not have a minyan here in the Bornstein, we do have a minyan in our Zoom, and we have people on our Zoom who are saying Kaddish, and for whom the concern about being in person is a health issue. And so for those reasons, we are going to consider ourselves a minyan, including those who are here and those who are watching the Zoom. Those of you who are in the process of mourning or observing a yard site, please rise. And we'll conclude Kabbalat Shabbat with the Mourner's Kaddish, page 24. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. V'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon. V'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala uvizman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevorach li'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal. Shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Damiran b'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru.
Amen.
Amen. So I want to pause briefly and just spend a few moments talking about a theological conundrum, a theological difficulty that we come to when we come to this week's parashah, so close to the start of a new year, Parashat Ki Tavo. And we read once again the blessings that will come to us if we observe mitzvot, if we follow commandments, and the curses, the terrible things, the calamity that will befall us if we don't do those things. And I know that for most of us in this room, the suffering that most of us experience, it's hard for us to want to say that we deserve the suffering we experience because God is rightfully punishing us for our misdeeds. I don't think that anyone would feel comfortable saying that God sent the coronavirus to each of us to bring death and pain and suffering because of our misdeeds. That would be, I think, for most of us, theologically offensive. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is, how do we read and how do we understand as religious people this idea that is found in our parashah? And we read the words after the initial blessings and curses for following or not following the mitzvot. We read these words, because you would not serve Adonai your God in joy and in gladness over the abundance of everything that you have. You shall have to serve in hunger and thirst, naked and lacking everything, the enemies whom Adonai will let loose against you. Now that's, again, a tough thing to swallow, right? That if we don't serve God in joy and gladness, then God is going to make us ultimately suffer. But I want to ask you to think about reading this in a slightly different way. Instead of reading that as a description of theology, this is what God is going to do. What would, instead of being a prescriptive theology, I should say, this is what God's prescription will be for your wrongdoing. What happens if we read it as something that was descriptive of life as we know it? Because life as we know it is something in which we have to choose what and to whom we will serve. It is impossible to be alive and to be human and not to serve something. Some of us put ourselves into service of the people we love by trying to take care of them. Some of us put ourselves into service of trying to make the world a little bit of a better place by volunteering our time. And some of us put ourselves into service of ourselves, of our egos, of our pursuit of riches and wealth, of our pursuit of prestige. To be human is to be in service of something. And perhaps what we could read our Torah is reminding us of is that if we choose to put ourselves into service of the values that are at the basis of what it means to be Jewish, if we put ourselves into service of cultivating gratitude by saying blessings for the gifts of our lives, if we put ourselves into service of doing mitzvot that actually make people's lives a little bit better by giving of tzedakah and of giving to those who are in need, if we choose to serve God in that way, then we will know gladness. We will know a quality of life that is an elevated quality of life. Whereas if we serve the material or if we serve our ego, we will be destroyed by a never-ending abyss of something that we can never fill. And so one of the ways that I try to read this week's parashah is not as a punishment that God is going to inflict upon us, but a description of the world as we know it. Because the most joyful people I know in the world, the people who radiate warmth and kindness and happiness, are the people who are serving other people, the people who get joy from being able to give. And so my hope for each and every one of us is that we don't have to suffer from a description of what seems like a vengeful God, but instead we can remind ourselves that we will all serve someone or something It's ours to choose. But if we choose to serve God, if we choose to do mitzvot, if we choose to cultivate gratitude, then the people that we become will be the people who are joyful, who know gratitude, who experience our lives as blessings. And that, in fact, is the world as we want it to be. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to invite those who are here with us to, if they're able to stand, to do so. The cantor will now begin the Mariv service on page 28 with the Baruch Hu.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMorach. Baruch Adonai Morach le'olam vaed.
We invite you to be seated as we continue privately, Ma'ariv Aravim, page 28.
Baruch Adonai Mechalam asher b'dvarim v'chochmatotecha. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ולילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אלוקי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Continuing page 29, Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו למדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח לעולך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד לעד. יאהב את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אלוהים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה אם שמוע תשמע מצוותיי אשר אנוכי מצוותכם היום, וישמרו לכם ואת השמיים וכתבתם זבדיכם למען ירבו ימיכם. אדוני לאבותיכם לתת לכם כימי השמיים על הארץ, ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תתורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריכם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם,
We continue davening, page 32. Emet v'mechazot v'kayam aleinu.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה בני ישראל לכנו שירה ושמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם, la 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 la. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה לי אנו ויאמרו, זה לי אנו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. La 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 la. ונאמר כבדת יעקב גלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל.
Join with us as we continue with Craig Taubman's Hashkivenu, page 33.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. 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 ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתכם לשלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס לנו סוכה שלמך ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכה שמלאנו על כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
Amen. Turn with us to page 34 as we continue thanking God for the gift of Shabbat v'Shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל, ותהי עלי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ותהי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. בני ובין בני ישראל, ותהי עדי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ותהי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
I invite you to rise. We continue now with Chatzi Kaddish and some time for our own private Amidah, beginning page 35.
יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ואלמד דברי קירותי ומנקמהותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יש מרבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עמיה, יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ביעלמה ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. ואמרו אמן.
We'll ask you to remain standing as the Chazan leads us in Kiddush on page 49.
ברוך אתה אדוני למלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידש מצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרו למעשה וראשית. כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר לסיעת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך יבואו ברצון. הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim.
We'll remain standing as we turn ahead to page 51 and continue with Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שנשמע על כן נקבלך לראות מהרה בתפארת וזכותך. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We'll turn ahead to page 80 as we continue with Psalm 27, the psalm for this season of turning. Page 80.
הקדשה לתימת אדוני אותה בקש. הקדשה לתימת אדוני אותה בקש. שיבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו. לחזות בנועם אדוני, ולבקר בהיכלו.
Before we invite people to say Kaddish or saying Kaddish, we need to acknowledge that there are many, many families of American service members, American Marines, who are grieving this week in the wake of the suicide bombing at the Kabul International Airport in Afghanistan. And our prayers are with all of those who were injured and wounded in the attacks and the families whose loved ones and our servicemen and women who perished in that act of pure cowardice and hatred. So we hold them in our hearts as we invite all who are in the process of mourning to rise as we turn to page 52 and continue with Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalmad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon. V'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agala uvizman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach li'olam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar, v'yit romam, v'yit naseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei, dekudasha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, tamiran bi'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu, ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Again, we ask God to bring comfort to those of you who mourn your loved ones. We want to say thank you to those who are here and coming in person. It really does add to have people who are singing together with the Chazan, and we are equally glad to have people on the Zoom, and glad that you can participate in any way that you have access to the service. Tomorrow morning, we will be here at 9:30. I do want to let people know who generally are participating by Zoom. There is one thing you are going to miss tomorrow if you are not here in person. That is Rabbi Jonathan Rosenbaum will be giving our Devar Torah tomorrow. We are saving his Devar Torah to the very end of the service because Rabbi Rosenbaum is not comfortable with the electronics associated with him being viewed by Zoom, since he is someone for whom that is not something that, according to his understanding of Jewish law, he would feel comfortable with. So he is going to do the sermon at the end of the service, and we will turn off the Zoom right before he begins his talk to help him feel comfortable being able to share words of Torah. Maybe that will be an extra incentive for some who might be normally watching the Zoom to come so you can hear Rabbi Rosenbaum's words of Torah here in person in the Bornstein tomorrow morning. We want to let you know that we are delighted that we will be partnering with our friends from Kol Ami, who will be with us tomorrow night at 8:30 in this room as Cantor Agar and cantorial soloist Rebecca Schwartz lead us in a beautiful Havdalah, which will be followed by a really wonderful program. I hope that many can come or participate again virtually on the meaning of faith and how we maintain faith in difficult times. And we've all been through some very difficult times in this past year and a half, and we'll talk and have a wonderful conversation and study some sources on faith and emunah. That will be at 8:30, and then following that, we will adjourn to the main sanctuary where the Chazan will be leading us in a beautiful, beautiful and moving slichot service as we begin the process in earnest of preparing ourselves for these upcoming Yamim Noraim. That's tomorrow night, starting at 8:30, with our slichot service following at approximately 9:45. We hope many of you can be here with us. For those who can't, you will, of course, be able to participate virtually as well. We have many, many things that we have been sending out about high holidays. Hopefully you have received lots of information. Your tickets are coming, and all of the schedule of services will be arriving both in the mail, and you will see them in your emails for how you can access services. And again, we hope that many of you will feel comfortable being here. And for those who don't, we will have wonderful, wonderful live stream and Zoom for you to participate with. Again, we want to thank everyone for being here and thank Chazan for leading us in beautiful, beautiful davening. We're going to conclude on page 54 of your prayer book with Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Li'ed Nasa V'hefzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu hova v'hu yeh batifara אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, עת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, עת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה, והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה. ידו אף כדרוכי ויתישן ויעירה וימרוכי גבייתי אדוני לי ולא יירא. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom.
Good morning. Thank you. Yeah. I should go to Rabbi.
And Yasher Koach to our intrepid Shalom congregants. We want to say Shabbat shalom to all who are watching. Shabbat shalom.
About 12.
We had 12 on Zoom.
Shabbat shalom.
Everything's all right. You know, it's
Hi, Judy. Good Shabbos.
Thanks, Bill. I love the background.
Yeah, that's. I actually never saw them in person. I've been a lot of places, but and even up by Finland and Sweden and all, but not far enough north to see it. I always love it.
We never saw them. Yeah.
Where
Second best.
would you have to go? Like Alaska or?
Alaska.
No, you further. You have to go further up to Norway, in the northern Norway, I think, or even northern parts of Greenland,
Joe.
Iceland, whatever.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah.
So even northern Alaska wouldn't do it.
It might. Yeah, it
I
might.
know, it's not Joe.
God, they're just amazing. What does make all that green?
It's the way the sun hits, I guess, with the gases in the atmosphere in that particular location, the angle of the sun, I think,
Wow.
Not an astronomer, but I think that's what it is.
It's really stunning. It's just stunning.
It's
Yeah.
pretty.
I
Yeah.
can't remember if I found that one online or if it was just part of the selection that they give you when you're on Zoom,
Wow. Yeah, I'm not technologically savvy enough to have anything in the background except my house.
Well, you know what? If you see where it says stop video
No.
on your thing, we can shut your video off and on like you do sometimes. Like
Yeah, we don't go.
Yeah.
I have an iPad.
Oh, does it
Can't
have
get
a-
it, Bill. We still can't get a background.
Can you
From
get
an
a
iPad?
You gotta blur
It's
Get it?
interesting.
Yeah, we
If you have
can't
the
get a
button that
background.
says-
You have to have a newer computer.
Ah.
Our
You have
computer-
the button that says stop video?
Oh, yeah, I do. Is that
Is
where
there a
you
little,
said
is
it?
there a little arrow right next to it?
Our background.
If you
Uh,
click on a little arrow, it gives you choices. Choose virtual background, choose video filter, and all
Try it.
that.
I'll have to play with it when I'm not on it.
It's a virtual background.
Yeah, choose virtual background. Click on that, and it usually gives you different things.
I just, what do you want it? Try virtual background. Where do you see
Oh,
it?
the Golden
Yeah,
Gate Bridge.
it's a virtual background. I know, I'm clicking on one.
Will you have it there, Bill?
Anything.
Golden Gate, I was, yeah. That's not my picture.
Yeah, turn that on.
That's from the internet.
Patty,
Yeah.
Patty?
Yeah.
Patty,
you
you're
like that one?
morphing. You're morphing, Patty.
I know. That's how trying to play with the virtual background.
Not getting anything really.
We don't get a virtual background.
That's the closest it got dark.
You can actually paste them there from your photos if you want.
Yeah, we
We tried, it
tried.
doesn't work well with that.
Well,
Somebody told us our processor's too old.
Oh, that could be. That could be.
But can you do any of that stuff on an iPad or it has to be a computer?
Thank
I
you.
thought you. I thought
Like
you
that
could
one?
get
You like that one?
Love it.
it. That's
Put it on
cute.
you.
How did you do that? I don't even know how you did that one.
It's just one of
That,
those.
now that one I'm keeping.
Yeah,
That was
deserve. You've earned that one, Patty.
right. Believe me, after this couple
After the-
weeks.
You know,
There you go. You have your mask on.
Are all of you
Great.
going to do virtual for the high holidays?
I'm gonna go the first day in person. I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
We're gonna go the
Ian.
first day and see what
Go
it's
back,
like.
sure. We're gonna go and see what it's like, if it's,
I'm
We're gonna
kind of
go to-
committed to staying on Zoom or.
I'm gonna
live.
try the first day if it feels safe.
hey, Bill, can we knock on the door? Do you have honey in the
At the
office?
house?
At the office,
Oh, well, yeah, I definitely have it at the office.
okay.
Yeah, but you know what? Remind me after Shabbos, and I usually have a couple of jars around. I'll drive by and honk the horn if you want to come out, and I'll get you some honey.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no
Well, because
problem.
we walk in the,
We walk the cemetery a lot.
Okay.
if you
Well,
want to drop it off, that would be great.
yeah, I'll do that.
Because we've
be
had the
happy.
girl, we've had the kids. You heard what happened with their house, right?
Was
No.
Patty, was that their new house or where they were moving
No,
out?
that's where they're living.
That's
What
I-
happened?
My son's house burned down.
Oh,
Burnt.
God. Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. So they're,
Everybody's okay, though? Everybody's
yeah, they
safe?
got out, but their house was totaled.
Oh,
Right.
God.
So they've
More
been,
from water damage than the
yeah, I was
fire.
gonna say more, it was more from the fire.
Water damage.
They,
than the
the
fire.
firemen broke all the
rebuilding?
windows.
Ugh.
Are they-
It's
Are they
the wall.
rebuilding or going somewhere else?
Well, they've been staying at Susie's mother, which is in Huntington Valley. She lives in
Yeah.
Huntington Valley.
A
So,
couple of years ago, good friends of mine's house burned down. They lived in Meadowbrook for about 3 or 4 months while they rebuilt everything, all new
Hmm.
electrical systems. Well,
They're
how did it
not-
start? Was it electrical?
electrical,
Yeah,
that's what
it
they,
always seems to be. Hey,
so they've been staying at Susie's mother, which is like right near Holy Redeemer.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Problem is the kids go to school at
They,
French
yeah,
Select,
so they have
they
their,
wanna play, if they find a place, they want it down there.
yeah, hopefully the insurance company is supposedly looking for something for them.
Yeah,
They
okay.
found, Susie found something in Queens Village. Hopefully they're gonna get that.
Yeah. I see the canner. I'm thinking he's going to want to shut us down here.
We'll see.
Shabbat